Hello, it's Kate French here, clinical psychologist of Side by Side Psychology, and welcome to this Friday Live. So this afternoon I thought I would chat to you a little bit about using games when we're talking about teaching emotional literacy and emotional regulation. So I thought I'd show and talk about a few of my favourites that I've used in session, but also how this could be something that you could use with your own children or in a classroom or something like that. So one of my favourites ways, I suppose, of just really introducing discussion about emotions and, trying to check out what emotions children are already recognising or what words they're really comfortable with, is a game that's a matching game that is called Moody Monsters. So I actually have had this for many, many years, came across it and have had to then search for additional versions of it after I was using the one that I'd bought for my own children at home. So then I found another set of games. So yeah, it is around, but it's not something that I've seen like at your usual shops and things. So this is just a really simple memory matching game, which is a really nice introduction for many ages of children. You can play it really simply with the faces up, or you can play it as the usual memory matching game where all the faces are face down, make it a little bit more challenging. So it's got 16 pairs in there, so a fair few different kinds of emotions. They're all really comically kind of presented, but children really respond to the bright colours and the exaggerated sort of faces. So this is a really fun and non-threatening way to, keep those conversations about emotions. Obviously, most households have some sort of memory game. So if you can get your hands on one that's actually got emotions already in there, that's a really nice thing to be able to do. The other thing that I really like about this is it also gets discussions really easily started about how do they go with winning and losing. That usually really triggers for lots of kids either excitement, anger, disappointment, all kinds of things that you can explore even before you've started the game if necessary. So yeah, finding something like this is a nice way if you can, but even just with your usual memory match kind of game, you can still have some sort of that sort of exploration of how we're going to feel playing the game and all that kind of thing. The other one that I really, really like to play and have done for quite some time is good old Jenga. So there's lots of different therapeutic versions I've seen of this one where you can actually label different bricks and have different rules around which pieces you can remove, and you can develop it as a way of asking questions and doing different activities in that way. I usually just use it as a way to firstly, talking about rapport building and getting a sense of enjoyment, but Jenga is a really lovely way of exploring quite positive emotions such as excitement. It could be a teamwork thing depending on how you sort of engage the child with the play, but also it's a really useful one for exploring anxiety whilst you're actually in the situation. So it's frequently able to explore what's happening to our body, what are we noticing, what are we feeling when the tower starts to get really, really, really shaky. So usually a bit of talk has already had about recognising anxiety in the body so that you can fairly easily kind of apply that. But it's a really fun way of exploring the sometimes challenging emotion of anxiety and disappointment at perhaps losing a game or not wanting the tower to fall, and how we're going to cope with that. So a really simple game. Mine's a really one that's been bought at a secondhand shop, I think, and a garage sale. But it's really, really easy, fun way to engage and have some conversations about emotions, as well as actually see emotion regulation in action. I often do some actual, breathing demonstrations while this is going, or I might say I have to really take a breath to try and calm the shakes in my hand while I take that piece out, and modelling for them at the same time what a calm, focused approach can do in terms of improving your Jenga game. So they're just two of my favourites that I use a lot, and you can explore sort of in different ways. But for your own family at home, any games that you have that your child enjoys playing, that is not too competitive and not too many rules, So I think that can be a challenge sometimes with doing games and playing at home, is that if there's too many rules or it's too hard for that child, they haven't quite got the skills to manage the losing component of it. Thinking about games that have real focus on fun and that they're still within their ability to cope with the losing part of it, because you can always make games more challenging, even really simple games, when they've got those skills to be able to cope with those emotions, rather than just avoid playing games altogether. Starting with something that's fairly simple and straightforward and having lots of fun. Of course, while we're playing and engaging with our children or with young people with games, there's lots of opportunity for shared enjoyment and shared experiences. So in fact, you're modeling a lot of facial expressions when you're showing enjoyment. You're engaging lots of eye contact when you're doing that as well. So it's a really important bonding time as well. And if you're trying to get your child to show more of a range of emotions, or you're just having that opportunity to say, hey, I can see you're really enjoying this, look at that smile, or I can see you're concentrating so hard, I love seeing how focused you are. It's a really nice way of reinforcing the presence of those different emotions as well, which is really useful for full emotion expression and regulation. So think about, how often you get games out in your home or with your young people, and think about how that can also build skills like social skills as well, in terms of turn taking and waiting and patience. So all those higher level kind of skills that are required for full sort of social ability later on in life. But starting, like you said, with just emotional literacy is a really easy way to do. Grab some different games and cards and see how you can kind of engage your child with that. So I'd love to hear if you've got some other games that are really good tools for you. Or if you can put your ideas in the comments below about what you've used or what you found to be really useful, and continue that conversation on how we should really use fun and enjoyment, and games are a really good way of being able to do that, to teach our children emotions and get them to explore emotion regulation in a really safe, fun manner. So thank you for listening, and if you find it useful, please share it or put a comment below, and I look forward to seeing if you join me next Friday afternoon. All right, thanks guys.